Okay, this is Mr. J, and we are working on finding the percent composition worksheet. The definition of percent composition is the percentage by mass of each element in the compound. And so I use these two examples today, one with candies and one with magnesium chloride in example number 2, a compound. And so I want to go directly to sample problem, get rid of that, and clear it out and start again. So directions are to find all of the percent compositions of all the elements in the following compounds. So we're going to start with copper bromide. And so you want to be able to find the molar mass of that compound before you can find the percent composition of each element in that compound. And what you have to do is you have to look at your compound and say, okay, I've got copper here, I've got one copper, and if I go to my periodic table, I find copper in my periodic table, and here it is, and we're going to go to the nearest hundredth and say it's 63.55 grams per mole, and so we'll say 63.55, and then we have Br2, bromine. So we have two bromines here. And one bromine is 79.90 grams per mole. But since we have two bromines here, we're going to multiply that by 2. And if you do that, 79.9 divided by 2. I'm going to calculate it real quick. I'm not going to try to do anything in my head. And times 2 equals 159.80 grams per mole. Okay, so we've got all that taken care of. That is easy to do now. We add those two numbers together, and 63.55 plus 159.80, so 63.55 plus 159.8 is going to be 223.35 grams per mole for that total for the copper bromide. So now to find the percent, and I'll do this in a different color, the percent of the compound that is copper, it's going to be the molar mass of that copper divided by the total molar mass, which is 223.35. And when you do that, 63.55 divided by 223.35, I get an answer. It says 0.2845. I'm going to take that and multiply that by 100 now, and I get 28.45% for the percentage of copper. Now, if I wanted to do the same thing for bromine, I'll go down here, there's a little more room. Percent of bromine in the compound, we'll take that molar mass for that bromine, which was 159.80, and divided by the total, which is 223.35. And that number is going to look like 159.80 divided by 223.35, and we're going to get something that looks like this, 0.7154. We're going to multiply that by 100 and make it a percent, and that'll be 71.54, and so that would be my percentage of bromine in that compound. So for 28.45 or so percent plus 71.54%, and we're off by just maybe 1/100th, and really you want everything to add up to 100, but that's a pretty good answer for that problem. So just make sure that when you're solving these problems that you are making sure you account for every element in that compound. For example, you have one sodium here in number 2, you've got one oxygen here, and you've got one hydrogen here. But if you go to like problem number 3, you have one nitrogen, you have 4 hydrogens, and you have one chlorine. So you got to take all that into account when you're trying to add up the molar mass for the entire compound.